So quick poll, informal style. Anybody using Behance right now? Already, before the session begins. Behance profile or browsing Behance or what have you. And welcome to everybody. Thanks for joining. Jasmine says yes. Jane, no. Galara, no. Not yet. I like, Jane says she's open to it. So that's what I take from the not yet. Anthony, no, but all your students, perfect. Panagiotis, no. Carol, no. Okay, so maybe new. Brian says not yet, but valuable. Good, okay. So let me define it first, and then we'll get in. Can I remove the annotation, Brian? Is that me, or is that something that you have to do?
Sorry, that's me. Give me a sec.
No, that's all right. I wasn't thinking about that either. But I'll push onward. So it's behance.net, and I'll post this link in the chat. This is an Adobe service. It has great value if you or your students have a license to Creative Cloud. But for those that don't, you can certainly browse Behance and also create your own presence. I liken it to a LinkedIn for portfolios. There's definitely a community behind it. You can see we're on the main page here. I am logged in. There's my avatar in the upper right. But what you can also see across the bottom of each tile in the lower right is the number of appreciations, the thumbs up. And I guess our product team from Behance their claim is that they had the appreciate, the thumbs up icon before even Facebook. So Behance is a very popular platform, been around for a while. And then the number of eyeballs or the number of project views. So we're looking at 4,600 views of just this project by this Illo studio. So there's a social networking platform kind of built into it. And I'll walk you through some features of it first, and I'll share some resources with you also. If I look at my profile, I hover over my avatar, and I look at my profile, Behance profile here, what you're seeing in these tiles are all the projects that I've already created. There's a project editor built in, a what you see is what you get, the WYSIWYG style editor. But beyond that, there are some other things in my top navigation bar here. So I'm in the work, obviously, section here. There's my projects. If I go over to mood boards, I'm going to start here because we call the session title was all about mood boards. What a mood board is just a collection of projects. You don't have to be the owner of the project. You don't have to get permission from the creator of the project. It's more like an inspiration, a vision board, right? An inspiration guide. Now, I can create mood boards of things that I find on Behance, like, oh, I like that project. I'm going to pull it into a mood board. Ooh, I like that project. I'll pull it in. But also, think about a department chair or a faculty or an admin for a department can create a mood board of all of the work coming out of that department. So I was pushing this a lot last year, when we pivoted from in-person learning to distance or remote learning. I work with a lot of schools that were doing these, grad showcases or senior portfolio showcase. And those were all, pitched, right? They couldn't do anything in person. So this concept of a virtual portfolio show really gained traction. And one of your partners here, Humber College, they really took advantage of that. Let me see where I am here. Thought I had it queued up right in the beginning. Let me see. Let me go to appreciations because it may be sitting over there, easier to find there. Oh yeah, Humber class of photography class of 2020. So you can see that's the title of the mood board, but beneath it, the creator is Humber Photography. So this is the department over at Humber for the photography area. And you can see they did this last year. So they added their branding elements and pulled in selected work from their students. 8 appreciates 157 views. They're doing it again this year, and I think it's just about going live right now because there's only 1 appreciate and 9 eyeballs. So if we click into this, what you're seeing laid out, more or less full screen, are all of these works that were pulled into a mood board and then just published by the department. So they didn't have to get a student work release or permission to show. They basically curated this as a department and then pulled it into a mood board. So you can see here's the work, and then they also add the creator, the photographer, the creator. So if me as a hiring manager or as a proud parent of a student who's about to graduate, I can take a look at this entire show. It's hard to see. There is a scrolling bar on the side here. So it's just a single scrolling page of selected works coming out of class of 2021. If there's a certain image that I like or I'm intrigued by, I can certainly click on it and get a little bit blown up resolution so it fits the screen, and I've got navigation left and right sides to go to the next or the previous image. And if I like a certain image, let me close out of the full screen aspect. This is JD Lau. I can click into his or her portfolio. And again, he has a presence on Behance. You can see he's a photographer. He's got his own branding, JDL Visual. There's a website link, an about section. And then you can even, there's a read more, but you can also put your whole entire resume in this left-hand panel here. And then he's chosen to, add some of his work. So, the mood board can become that launching pad for the individual students who are about to graduate from the photography program at Humber. So the mood board is easy to create. And I'm going to walk you through that really quickly. Let me go back to my panel. You can see here's mood boards that I already built out, but there are also mood boards that others have shared with me. Because one of the things I often hear is, oh, Behance, that's for all of our creative degrees, all of our visual arts, all of our fine arts students. They could use Behance. And I say, just wait. You could do much more with it. So my team and me, we built out examples of, here's one called medical examples. So again, a mood board, just an inspiration thing. And here's all of the people that I collaborated with to build this mood board. So if we did want to create one and it was the work of students coming out of your nursing program, let's say, we could list all of their personas here and they're all clickable. Another mood board here about academic research, and I'll come back to this one in a second. Another one about cross-curricular uses, healthcare. Here's a poster on how to give an injection using the Z-Track method. So if I like this and I wanted to save it, I can add it to an existing mood board that I have all of these created so far, or I can create a new one. And let's call this Seneca T&L May 2021. So again, I don't need to be the owner of this. I don't need to get the owner's permission. It's almost like in the old analog days, we go through magazines and we cut out little snippets of vacations or photographs or articles, and we put them in a scrapbook folder. That's what a mood board is. So let's save. And now I've got this Seneca T&L May 2021 mood board in progress. I can go to see it now and click the link to see that mood board, or I can continue to browse Behance. And as I find things that I'm inspired by, I can add them to my mood board just by clicking that save button. So a quick pause. We got into Behance, behance.net. I put the link in the chat. You saw my profile. We got into the basics of mood boards, and we talked about that you don't need an active Creative Cloud license to create a persona in Behance. And we talked about how to add things to a mood board. Are there any burning questions at this point? Anything gaps, anything I missed so far?
No questions just yet, Jason, but feel free for those that are participating to post your questions in the chat, and Jason will get to them as soon as he can.
Sure. Yep. And I've got two screens, so I've got the chat open on a side window, so I'm keeping an eye on it. I just wanted to throw it out there for everybody to jump in if there are any questions. Okay. So we started out on mood boards here. I want to show you another feature that I find very useful. Before I joined Adobe, I was at the Art Institute of California for 11 years. And part of that time, I was the Dean of Academic Affairs. And we were building out these portfolio binders where we would have accrediting bodies, their visitors come to our campus. We'd give them our executive conference room and they'd hole up for 3 days and go through student work, and we'd bring them in lunch, but they never wanted to meet with all of us and talk with students and everything. So we said, okay, forget these binders, these 4-inch ring binders. We want to pull together digital versions of those binders. So what we started to do was associate the course code of key courses in the first year experience with student work. So students, yes, they had to submit their projects to their faculty through the LMS, but they also had to publish a copy on Behance and tag their projects with the course code. So if we do an easy search for FND 105, what you'll see here that returns are all of the projects that the creator, the original student, creator of these projects, they could title it in the actual title of the project, or there's a keyword area when you publish a project that you can add keywords, and it doesn't have to be a course code. It could be, any keyword related to the project. But what we were able to do for the accreditation visitors, and even beyond that, these had multiple uses, even, grade norming for department meetings over, in between semesters. We would look at compilations of student work as a department, help us communicate better across the department. And, we would have 10 sections of FND 105 running every semester. So for new faculty that we brought on, to be able to show them different student projects coming out of this course helped us onboard those new faculty more seamlessly, more easily. So, and this running scrolling bar will continue to show all of the student projects that, again, were tagged FND 105. So we could build a mood board out of all of these or some of these, or we could even get more granular if we decided to tell the students that, hey, put the course code, but also put the semester, right? They can do an underscore, spring 2021 or spring 21. I think we'll get no search results here. But anyway, you could have a running change of FND 105 every semester, and then you have a snapshot, basically a collection of student work coming out of that course from that specific semester. So I found this to be extremely useful from a education management perspective. So that's the course code, to be able to search for that. The other thing that we can take a look at right now, so we're in the search field here under schools, we can see who's using from Seneca Behance right now. So I just typed Seneca, it finds your appropriate title, and I'm going to remove this search term because obviously it's not coming out of Seneca College. And then we should be able to search here again. Let's do that. I think it got snapped up when I had a search term there. Let's go back to Discover, which is where you do searching. And let's search for Seneca here. And then let's go back to do it in the schools field. So now what we're seeing is any project associated with either a student at Seneca, or it could even be a professional that did a project for Seneca, like an architect or a designer or a motion graphics artist. So you can see, again, scrolling through here, let me get rid of the search here. And now it's a truer search. So any project associated with Seneca College instead of in the search term here. And again, as we scroll through here, it's just going to deliver up more and more projects. So it doesn't give us like a 6,000 results, with that search term. It just gives us a never-ending scrolling, compilation of anything coming from Seneca. So if there's a specific project we like, we can click into it. And again, we could build a mood board or add to the existing mood board. Let's do that for the Seneca TNL May 2021, and we'll save that out. The other benefit here, and I like this is happenstance, but what Joshua has done is he started to add in a description, a narrative about his process. So he did a step-by-step walkthrough with his prof on redesigning an Audi website, showing screenshots, right, from, this is actually Adobe InDesign. I wish he had submitted a larger version of it so I could zoom in here, because this is the full screen version. I'm zooming in using my browser controls, which are not ideal for this, I don't think. But you can see the various, well, actually this is Photoshop, not InDesign. So he's doing the layout in Photoshop. If we hover, let me zoom out a little bit so it fits screen. I can go to the next or the previous image, and it'll introduce me to other projects by the same creator if I wanted to click into his work further. I'm going to close this out. The other thing I was hoping that Josh, here he did. He says, then we were challenged to redesign the website created in class by changing the contrast. And the reason I like what Joshua is doing here as far as the narrative part of it is he's not just showing us his finished work, which probably is beautiful. He's showing us his process, and he's finding his voice in talking about that process. And what I learned at the Art Institute, we had a very successful degree program called Visual and Game Programming. The students coming out of there, they had great skills in coding and terrible skills in interviewing. So what we doubled down on this process of creating a portfolio and having students build out kind of milestones in Behance and, code snippets, cut and paste text or a screenshot of a code snippet, and then describe their process, their problem-solving process of how they wrote the code, because coding is very nebulous, and in an interview, it's very hard to represent. And what we found was the students really found their voice by going through this in Behance, so they interviewed a whole lot better when it came to the stress of an in-person interview. So something else to think about there. Let me see what I covered. We got Josh's work in the mood board. If I wanted to appreciate his work, I'll do that here. And that's the first appreciate he's gotten, which I don't think that's, he should have more than that. But what else it is helpful for me when I go back out to my profile here in my avatar and I go to appreciations, here's Josh's project. So it's showing me all the work that I've appreciated so far. I think this is in reverse chronological. So most recent is in the upper left here. So I don't have to bookmark it or save it. The appreciations that I've made automatically are tracked in my profile. So hopefully so far so good there. Let me switch gears here and talk about the work, right? So here are, again, the projects that I've published. Now this first one, let's click into this. This is actually an Adobe Spark page. So those of you familiar with Adobe Spark or using it already, you can embed the entire Spark project into this browser window. So you can see as I hover over it, we've got that kind of that zoom into the shot here. And I did put the link at the top. And if I hit read more, then it actually opens up in its own browser tab as a published Spark page. So this is what I was talking about last year when all of these schools, had decided to do a virtual portfolio show instead of doing one in person, which, they couldn't do, right? School canceled, postponed, or moved these online. So I built this out as a Spark page, but the benefit here, let me go back to wherever it was, is that I can add now the Spark page to my compilation of projects associated with my own portfolio. And you can see here, 1,161 people have viewed this. I only have 15 likes, but what can you do? So as I tab through, here's my next project. Now, oh, it's longer. So this I built out in Adobe XD. And if you're not familiar with it, Adobe XD is our prototyping software that allows you to develop an app, right? A fake app, a prototype of one, either for an iPhone, an Android device, or even for, a desktop computer, depending on the size of the screen that you're trying to portray. So this was meant to be an iPhone app, and I did this for a bunch of community college teachers. So in the US, first 2 years are at community college, and everybody was new to Adobe XD. So I wanted to make it as easy and humorous and light as possible. So it says, here's the view. It says, click to launch an interactive prototype. So now this prototype, which you typically would interact with your finger on your iPhone, you can interact with in a browser window. So I don't have to be in person with someone, hand them my phone and they click through it. Now it's on my Behance portfolio. So as I click, here's the prompts. Do you deserve a cookie? Choices are yes, no, maybe, or moot question. They're going stale. Someone has to finish them, right? So let's click on that last one. So they're already stale, but you can see how this is running in the browser, but it is an interactive prototype. And the pictures are taken from Adobe Stock. We had a workshop earlier on Adobe Stock. And the end result, guess what, is always going to be cookie. So let me go back. When I click there again, it takes me back to the beginning, the splash screen. Should I have a cookie? No, I don't deserve one. And she said, no cookie for her. But now I can't shake this funk. I want a cookie. Guess what? You get a cookie. So the point here, not only am I developing apps in an Adobe product called Adobe XD, but I can show the world the results of that prototype app still on my Behance page, an all-in-one solution for the visitors. Let's close that out. We'll close that out here. And again, here are the tiles of all of my projects. So if I was more diligent and didn't have a day job, I could keep adding more and more projects to my Behance page. Now, the Behance page can stay with the students. So even as they graduate or depart from Seneca College, this Behance page, let me show you here. If I go into my settings, actually, I think it's not in settings. It is. So I can switch this portfolio to use a different Adobe ID. So as the student graduates, and they may lose their Seneca College Adobe access, or even they may lose their email address, they can point it to their Gmail address, whatever their next email address is. So the portfolio that they've taken great pains to build out stays with them, even though they lose their Creative Cloud access provided by Seneca. Okay, I'll take a breath. Carol says, but they still need an Adobe account. So Carol, the published version of their portfolio remains visible to the world. If they want to continue to edit it or to build it out, they'll need an Adobe ID, which is a free ID they can sign up for in under a minute on adobe.com. And that can be part of a get ready for graduation exercise. Don't just order your cap and gown and sit for a photograph, but hey, migrate your content or get ready to migrate your content to your next email address. And Behance, by the way, is always free to use. So anybody, a grandma, mom, aunt, brother, uncle, can go to behance.net, sign up for a free Adobe ID, and begin publishing a portfolio right away, today. So yeah, open to anybody. Let me go back to my page. You can see here's my project views and appreciates and people following me and following. Carol, can it download as a PDF? No, you could sort of, this page itself with these tiles, from your browser, you could export as PDF, but it wouldn't be a multi-page experience that, has the contents of each of the projects here. I'm trying to think of a good way to make that happen. It really just depends on the content. So for instance, the XD prototype that I already showed you, these are interactive screens that have these wired connections. I could probably do a screenshot and paste that into a single page of a PDF. Obviously, you wouldn't have the interactivity or anything like that. So yeah, these are best viewed as screen-based experiences rather than trying, to make it a PDF. You're right, better online. Yeah, exactly. Let me think about other things here. Oh, resume here. So if I wanted to, I could, and your students too, you can upload, I don't want to print, your resume. Mine needs some updating too, but the point is that it's available here. And if someone's looking through and doing a search and they want to search for, digital content creator, Behance will troll through all of the resumes with that key search term. So if I were out looking for a new job, I would want to make sure that my resume has those key search terms in there so I can be discovered or found by other hiring managers. Let me go back here. So Anthony, when Behance was a standalone product before Adobe, is there a subscription still available without Creative Cloud? So again, Anthony, you can sign up for free with, like if you made an email address today and you didn't have an Adobe license tied to that, you could sign up with that email address and build out your portfolio for free today. No Adobe license required. I just want to make sure I'm answering your question. Got it. Okay, good. There is a benefit though. Let me go back to my profile here. A benefit to having an active Adobe Creative Cloud license, and it's the connection to Adobe Portfolio. So what you're seeing here in my Behance profile, I do have a little bit of customization on the URL. You can see it's /Kastoff. But if I wanted to make a portfolio that was, jasonkatsoff.com or jasonkatsoff.us or whatever, I can't customize the domain. And there's limited layout templates that I could do here. So you're seeing all my tiles on one screen. If I click into one of the projects, there's very limited layouts that I can expose to this project. What Adobe Portfolio is, it's really the upper level of creating a portfolio. So as I build out my Behance projects, if I choose Edit Adobe Portfolio, all of my Behance projects that I publish here are automatically ported over to my Adobe Portfolio. And Adobe Portfolio allows me or any user to create 5 different versions of my portfolio. So again, imagine I'm a student and I'm looking forward to a job in healthcare. Maybe I'm going to do something in nutrition. Maybe I'm going to do something in wellness. Maybe I'm going to do something in personal coaching or counseling. I would rather be able to make 5 different versions of my portfolio and then target them towards certain hiring managers that align best with those, sub-disciplines. So I could have 5 versions of my portfolio, one for nutrition, one for wellness, one for personal counseling, one for coaching. And then as I find jobs available, I can send those hiring managers, links to those specific targeted versions of my portfolio. And I don't know that that's going on at Seneca. I would think that it is, or at least that strategy of making the upcoming graduate more competitive as they look for jobs. So I took you from Behance. I was over here, right? I clicked Edit Portfolio, and now I'm in here. It says, what site do you want to edit? I'm going to grab this one. From here, I can customize the URL. I can edit, and this is very much a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, right? I'm graduating spring 21. Maybe I'm not media communications. I'm in healthcare. Seeking employment in nutrition. Gosh, can't spell when it's live, right? Nutrition, wellness, counseling, right? And as these are Behance. See the Behance Virtual Portfolio Show. This is the Adobe XD prototype that you already saw. So what I'm getting here is a bonus because I have an active Creative Cloud license that I started in Behance. I automatically get the benefit of that publishing into Adobe Portfolio. But in Portfolio, I have a whole lot more controls over how it looks, a light scheme or a dark scheme. The fonts that I'm using or choose to use are more customizable. I can add a background image, And again, some of these I don't have access to when I'm creating in Adobe Behance. I'm not going to add an image here. I don't have anything at the ready. I'll cancel that out. And then I can choose to preview or update that live site and, you know, send it actually to update. So here's, oh, I missed. Now this is the viewing mode, right? So if I want to go back to edit, I choose back to edit, and then I can go fix my typo that I have here. So again, the benefit of the active Creative Cloud license is the Adobe portfolio. There is still a way for graduating students to migrate their content, even in portfolio, to a kind of a I shouldn't say placeholder, a free Adobe account that is ready for action depending on the student's next journey, right? If they get a job at a company that will give them Creative Cloud access, then they just have to wait for it until the employer does. If they're going to start their own company, or be CEO or entrepreneur, then they may want to park it in a free account until they have funding or venture capital funding or whatever their next income source is, so they can turn that into a paid Creative Cloud account. Or they can just leave this site as published and it will stay as it is and still be searchable and findable. They just won't be able to edit it until they would have access to Creative Cloud account. Again, that's Adobe Portfolio. Let's go back and focus on Behance, where everything is free all the time here. Let me think of what I missed here. There's this concept of teams, and I'm already in some teams already. I think you can only join 5 teams. But if I were to like if I was a faculty and I wanted to create a team, create a team and invite all my students to that team, that becomes a closed group. So we could upload works in progress, have discussions. I know you may have other collaboration or communication software or part of your LMS that will do that. But this could be another way to actually, you know, behind closed doors, so to speak, be able to collaborate and to share works. Other things here, insights can be useful. So, you know, again, thinking of being the student, I want an idea of how many people are looking at my work or how many appreciates I'm getting from the community. These are some stats that are built in that can show me, you know, this month, there's 1 year ago in gray here versus the blue, which is this month. Peak performance, right? This is all the projects that are getting views. So maybe if I had one at the bottom that's, you know, languishing at 0, maybe I could either delete that, enhance it, replace it with a newer project. You know, that might give me some impetus to create some new work and get this laggard out of my portfolio. So some things here that could be helpful. Let me see what else. I'll pause there. Let me make sure we've got anything in the chat. Anybody else have questions, or they even want to come off of mute and voice up, or other ideas for Behance? That Panagiotis had raised hand.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for so much for this. I was actually looking for something similar like recently, and I wanted to bounce up an idea with you. You know, see if I get this right.
Sure.
So I had I teach at Seneca Business, and I had 8 student groups do like capstone projects, right? And I created a Spark page and they created videos that summarize their projects, and I create like a page there, and they posted their videos on that page. So I shared that page with everybody else and said, you know, this is what they did. I invited them to an event and all of that. Could I have used alternatively Behance to make students like post their videos there and create, you know, maybe some extras like materials and stuff around their projects? And instead of creating, or additional to creating a Spark page, refer to Behance and their projects there. Do I get it right?
Yes. And Panagiotis, am I saying it correctly?
Oh yeah, I can use Panos. Sorry, I wasn't able to rename it. Panos. Yes.
Pano. Yes, you have it right. Let me expand on that, because I imagine when you built out the Spark page, or someone that works for you, that's quite a bit of work to source all of the student projects into one page, right?
Oh yeah, I had to upload them on YouTube and then from YouTube there. Yeah, it was quite,
Yeah.
took me some time. I did it personally, yeah.
So here's a suggestion. Each of your students could create a Behance portfolio, right?
Mhm.
So let me go back to mine. Here's my work. And again, this first tile here, this is a Spark page that exists on my Behance portfolio. So imagine the student opening up or creating a brand new Behance portfolio and embedding, I can even show you how to do that, their Spark video. So one student, one Behance page, one project on that page. They could put more, but at least that one. And then you ask them, perhaps, let me go in here to my project. And am I in edit mode? Let me edit. I'm going to edit this. You ask that student or every student in your class in the, I want to say settings here, project tag. So what's your course code of this specific class?
SMB 703.
703. So no space, right? We'll put all at one, one code
Right.
here. And just when they publish it, if you ask them to add that tag, then it becomes easily discoverable to you, to your admin, to your teaching assistant, what have you. So this is going to take a minute for those tags to perpetuate. But if we went back to the the main page of Behance, and we do that search for, and I don't think it'll hit yet. It may take a couple minutes yet, not yet. But once it hits and all the students create their projects and tag that, then this search will return all 8 students' projects. And then you can just put them in a mood board, right, that we did at the beginning here. And now you have a Behance page, a Behance mood board of all of the projects of your students automatically.
Right. And I guess, I think you already answered that, but I was looking for a platform to do exactly, a portfolio for my students. Like I would include a capstone and other projects that I'm working on, right? So they can do all that in Behance.
Exactly. And then let me go back to what I showed you at the beginning of the session about the mood boards. You or anybody can start to build out that mood board. I started to put one together, from Humber, right? I just did a search for Humber College and then start to put the projects into a mood board. So then you could have this link where you just send, hiring managers, parents, whatever happens at the end of the year, to be able to have their portfolios all in one central location. The other benefit, let me go back to the Humber group that I had before, is you can build in either a little bit of competition or recognition. So here's another one. I showed you the Humber College one. This is a digital photography exhibit coming out of a college down in Austin, Texas. We can appreciate from here. So there's appreciates 26, right? We can go into a project and appreciate. The mood board. I think it's going to appreciate the mood board altogether. I was thinking that we could appreciate each project on its own. And I think now that the mood board is compiled, it's appreciating the entire mood board. But I think if you did the course code, the SMB 703, then it will return all those projects of all those students who tagged their project SMB 703, in which case I could appreciate one or more of them.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I look forward to seeing a compilation of your student work. That would be fun. Please let me know if that comes to fruition.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll put my email address in there. And if you need help kind of pushing it together, I'm happy to connect with you separately, and we can build this thing out or even look at it, for the fall semester or whenever your timetable permits.
That would be amazing. Thanks.
Right on. Anthony says he was searching for me on Behance and I was private. No, I don't think I am. Let me do a search for myself. Ooh, cat's off. I may have to search by people. If I go over here to people, so maybe Anthony, you were in projects, so it's only looking for projects with my name. You may have to go over to people. And then there's a couple, I was messing around, I was using this one as a few of these as lecture materials, but this top one is my actual, Adobe persona. So you should be able to find it there. I guess I can put that link in the chat. There. Anybody else questions about using Behance or potential uses that they might have? Again, if I am looking for work, I could choose edit availability and talk about if I'm interested in a full-time job or a freelance project. And there are also jobs posted here. So we talked about kind of this being like a LinkedIn for visual portfolios. There's 1,309 jobs listed here. It might be an interesting exercise for your students as they approach graduation to do some searching here and maybe even do a cover letter, whether they're going to send it out for consideration or not. Going through that exercise of readiness can be a formative experience as well. Last thing here, we do offer live streams. So if you find other professionals that are broadcasting, you can follow them. This one is live right now. She's sharing, creating shareable video loops, and there's a live comment. So we use Behance as a live streaming platform, all about using Adobe apps, of course. It's not YouTube for everything under the sun. It's all about, creativity and using different apps for storytelling and for visual items, right? And here's the schedule. So there, this is my time zone, Mountain Time. I'm 2 hours behind you guys, but this is coming up next. Garden labels, a daily creative challenge. So we do a lot of live streaming through Behance as well. So I know we're just about out of time. I'm going to stop share. Carol says, you should mention that many creative professionals use this for promoting. Yes, you're absolutely right, Carol. And the inverse of that, many hiring managers will clandestinely get on Behance and look at others' work and not post that they have a job available. They will target, key, creative professionals that they're interested in pursuing. So, and I get notified, it looks like maybe, Jasmine is now following my work, and Anthony too. So little push notification there. And I think that comes up in my email too. And that little notification icon tells me when there's activity tied to my account.